Hey guys, how's it going? Thanks for joining the channel. Thanks for checking in today. Today what we're gonna do is I'm gonna give a bit of an introduction to my car. That way you guys know what I'm working with. Just for one of the cars on the channel. There's gonna be two other cars on the channel. We're gonna have my dad, which is the G in GSW Racing, and then my brother Gage. He's gonna have what the W is. I'm gonna leave it up to them to introduce their cars. That way we all can say what we want to say about our cars and what we've done to them. So to start off, I have a 88 foxbody that was originally a 5.0. Done quite a bit of work to it. I like to think we bought it with a stock, the 302 that came in it with an AOD transmission married up to it. First bought the car, it was a pretty good deal on the car, if I'm being honest. Dude said it didn't run at all. Had a little bit of help from my dad getting everything worked together. Started with new battery, then we found out it wasn't priming, so we went and got a new pump, dropped the tank, put the new pump in, and fired right up. Couple weeks later, I found out that the AOD transmission was actually going out. Didn't really have a lot to work with that, because this was just me getting introduced to the automotive aspect of things. Ended up going up to Michigan when I left Tennessee, and ended up buying a truck engine, an LS 5.3, and then I also bought a Turbo 400. Turbo 400 currently is still in it. Had a manual valve body put in that. Well, I did it myself. March, April time frame this year. Well, the 5.3 that I originally bought was in good condition when I bought it with nothing extra done to it. It was stock cam, just did a normal truck intake. Ended up taking it to track a couple times, got some pretty competitive times for my first time down there. I ran a 12.003 and then eventually got down to an 11.98 in the quarter. 112, I think, right about there. Ended up going out on the road, goofing off a little bit, and found out that I spun a cam bearing. Started off as a pretty bad knock that I couldn't really put my finger on where it was coming from. Found out that spun the cam bearing, completely ate the cam up. All of the lifters in there were done. So we had to get new push rods too when I decided to rebuild it. And when I rebuilt it, I realized if I'm gonna spend money on rebuilding it, I might as well go bigger. So I found a 6-liter, which is what is currently in here now, 6-liter LQ4 base. But instead of keeping it with the 6-liter, I found a machine shop down here to help me bore it out to a 408 stroker kit. 408 stroker kit has initially getting it all put together, ran into some issues, but we got it put together, got it running with a little bit of help from Brewer Speed Racing down here in Columbus, Georgia. Now, we put it all back together. It was my first time doing a complete rebuild by myself. Had some issues with the initial startup, just not knowing how the system's going to work, and if I put everything together right, because I'm not a professional at this. Obviously, I have a daytime job. This is just my hobby on the side. So when we put it back together, found out we weren't having any issues. Started right up for my brother and I when he came down to visit. Ended up putting the transmission and engine in together. And it probably took us 2 hours to do everything, because unfortunately, since it is LS swapped, my long tube Speed Engineering headers on this, the driver's side, you have the steering rack, the steering shaft, and it has to go between the headers to actually get all the way in to set time up to the steering rack. Bit of a problem with that. That took me a little bit to figure out, make sure everything was done right, and it's just super tight down there, getting everything to fit. So I ended up getting that together, and we got it started up. Ended up being able to go and goof around a little bit before he had to head back home. Had a lot of fun with it, and so far, most recently, on Friday, what was that? Third or fourth? Either way, last Friday, from today's date, we ended up going to Silver Dollar Racetrack down here in Reynolds, Georgia. Was able to take my wife and my daughter with me, and we ended up getting our first deep 11-second pass of the day at an 11.49. Was completely unexpected, but I was super happy with the results. Found out that with the way that my throttle body was positioned, my throttle cable was a little loose, so I tightened it up for the next run, and then that way I could get my full throttle body travel. I ended up getting a lot better on my time. Ran an 11:35. Super happy about the day. Decided I want to try it a little bit more aggressive. I added a couple degrees of timing. Ended up being too much timing, and I ended up blowing the tires off. Couldn't hook up. The launch was good, but then once I started pushing up and getting a little more acceleration into it, tires just weren't sticking. So I ended up spinning them, not able to hook as much as I wanted to, but it was still fun. Still ran, I think 1:15. My time was like a 12:5, 12:8. So obviously lost a lot of time in that initial takeoff, but it was still fun. And then now I just take my time, doing a little bit of driving here and there, making sure that we can work on the tune. Currently running a Holley Terminator in it, using the self-learn, or the learn table for the fuel to work on everything right now. Using that to help me get a good base going so that I can have fun with it and make sure that I can get from point A to point B without any issues. Currently, it's pretty cool out here in southern Georgia in the mornings, and then throughout the day it warms up. So it really likes running in the mornings, and then as the days gets on, it gets a little bit warmer. It doesn't like all the hot air, but that's to be expected. So yeah, and then on the inside of the car, we have the stock steering wheel. Working on some upgrades for that in the near future. Holley 3.5 inch for now. Obviously starting from somewhere. And then B&M normal shifter, not reverse pattern, just normal pattern. And then arc button panel with my fuse panel in the back. If you can see it back there. Yep. That runs all my electrical. Electrical has been cut down to the bare minimum. I have the steering wheel, or excuse me, the headlights, blinkers, and the taillights are all that are still hooked up for it. In the near future, I plan on setting up a button so that I can hit the button and it'll open up my back hatch because I'm a hatchback. But when I first got the car, it did not have a operational rear hatch button. It was actually completely gone. It just wasn't present. So something I had to kind of deal with, just pull the key out, go turn the key, old school on it, pop it open. And it was from there. But yeah, so we've got Viking coilovers in the rear, matched up with some American Racing 15 by 8.5 rims, with some 275s by 60s by 15s in the rear. And on the front, I've got some RRR. I think they're 235 by 50 by 15. I don't know. These are the first ones that I bought. I bought these once I did the 5-lug conversion. These things came in a 4-lug stock, and obviously, like stock rims, 4-lug, you don't really get a lot of opportunities or a lot of selection to pick from. So I went with the 5-lug. Next big upgrade we're doing, back is still drum brakes, and I don't like drum brakes. I'm not a big fan of them, and I think it's just because I'm not really comfortable with them. But disc brakes are going to be in the future. It's going to be my next big purchase for it. But other than that, like I said, guys, we've got, you know, this 408 stroker in here. I've got a Holley low ram on it. Just a nice, cheap little 92 millimeter intake, or throttle body, excuse me. Yeah, if you guys got any questions, you know, drop them in the comment section, and I'll get back to you guys as soon as I can. Obviously, I'm not going to get back to you guys all right away, but we're going to constantly monitor the channel, see if we can get some more followings going on, and we'll get back to you guys as much as we can. But good enough, I have a couple rolling videos from me just cruising around the Fort Moore area for the past couple days. So I'm going to put all that stuff at the end here so you guys can enjoy seeing the car drive around a little bit. I'm going to make sure that I start bringing the GoPros when I go to the track. Last time I went, I forgot both of them because I lost them in my house. So I'm going to have those with me so we can get some videos going on from inside the cab. And then I'd like to set up a GoPro so we can get a little bit of a view from outside looking back. So we can see what's going on in the back of the car when we're driving. Obviously, we always want to see what we can make adjustments to and learn from. And that's what this is all about. It's just learning, having fun. And then obviously a lot of commentary between my dad, my brother, and I. It's going to be a lot of us berating each other. That's where a lot of like how our relationship works, is we're always going at each other, but it's all in the name of love and race cars. So thanks for following, guys. GSW Racing out.